Guys, I'm a man, and if you don't know, I can't really kill a dinosaur. But, could I kill the Indominus Rex? We don't know. Let's try, yeah?
It's Bet Builder time,
I want
Josh.
you guys to know, I reacted to Goji Center in a year. Or in a couple of months. And I miss Goji Center, so I'm glad I'm reacting to Goji Center, in a way, yeah?
Atrocity of mighty nature that...
Just gotta put the sound back on. Could it be a thumbnail?
Atrocity of mighty nature that carved a path of destruction through Jurassic World. It overcame every obstacle until the bitter end, by man or beast. But what kind of weapons could even kill something meant for war? And did the cast even stand a chance with what they had on hand? Today on...
I can't survive fucking Oreos! How am I gonna survive Indominus Rex? Just kill me. I can't even survive fucking Oreos. How am I gonna survive Jurassic World if I can't survive cookies?
Center, we evaluate the first major cinematic hybrid and the weapons pitted against it to find out what
sorry. I want to see a
chance with what they have on hand. Today on Goji Center, we evaluate the first major cinematic hybrid and the weapons pitted against it to find out what really could have killed the Indominus Rex. First things first, let's establish what exactly it is we are evaluating here.
Why is she so green? I mean, yeah, did you eat a hot dog goes off dated, Indominus Rex?
First things first, let's establish what exactly it is we are evaluating here. The Indominus Rex was a massive creature with solid defenses, sporting bony osteoderms studding some of her hide, a thick skull comparable in strength to that of a Tyrannosaurus, and an overlapping ribcage and gastralia. Like even the most intelligent modern birds, dinosaur brains are very compact compared to mammals. So getting a brain shot on the Indominus would be extremely difficult. The best chances would be for a heart or lung shot from the flank, but that would require weaving through the gastralia and ribs, as well as penetrating multiple feet of tissue. Now, we aren't talking about a supernaturally durable kaiju like a mini Godzilla or any intentionally physics-busting supervillain.
-1 trailer 2 came out. Why I didn't react to it is it just showed the numbers and it was all in Japanese. Yeah, I have to admit it was a lazy excuse why I didn't react to it, but I just didn't want it as well.
The Indominus Rex is an animal.
Look, I do love Godzilla. I don't speak Japanese, you know what I mean? There's a lot of Godzilla stuff I would like to react to. They're Japanese, you know what I mean?
And is composed of the same stuff other animals are made of. Her body is chemically more or less made of the same bone, muscle tissue, keratin, and blood a normal animal is. Unless Dr. Wu ever spells out that he put Kryptonian in the DNA mix, we're not thinking otherwise. Now, like any fictional franchise, there have been moments in the Jurassic Saga where the physics have lapsed for dramatic effect. Owen here isn't supposed to be taken to be moonlighting as an Avenger, and yet here he is, getting caught in the pyroclastic flow of a volcano and being inches away from this much lava without being burnt to a crisp. It's...
Well, I'm glad Goji Center is finally mentioning the human characters. And if you're wondering about the human characters, here they are. And here's the dinosaurs, they're over here. So, I respect Goji Center for finally to mention them.
It's not because he is superhuman, it's plot armor. So, for...
Agree to disagree, Goji Center. I literally believe Owen might be the Jesus Christ of Jurassic Park. Not a joke. I'll explain my theory later, but like Jesus, he was sent to save humans from demons. He was sent to save humans from dinosaurs.
This evaluation, major lapses in physics for the sake of...
And he literally comes from a being of light. A bunch of light comes when you see him, like, you know, the Bible.
Dramatic effect are going to be put aside. We're also not taking statements from tie-in children's books seriously. We're also not taking statements from tie-in children's books seriously.
Wait, what? This exists! I never even knew about this book! No joke, no, this isn't me lying. Legitimately, nobody told me this book exists. I thought I had every Jurassic Park book. No, I didn't, but it's good to know there's another one. I'll keep my eye out for that.
Seriously, these are often meant for hype, didn't involve the filmmakers, and are contradictory to themselves. If anyone wants to use that, have fun, but we're just sticking to the films chiefly. And last but not least, we're not using online calculations done by others. Partially to keep this video from being too long, and because for every good calculation, there are bad ones, because somebody misunderstood physics. For example, we once came across a calc based on this moment where the good people of San Diego got a bus-side safari experience meeting the buck. And this calculation that got spread around concluding that the buck struck with 10 tons of TNT. For the record, folks, 10 tons of TNT is the equivalent of the mother of all bombs and looks like this. The blast radius of the GBU-43B dwarfs other non-nuclear munitions, making them one of the most lethal in comparison to other lesser bombs. What you're looking at is in-game footage, courtesy of one of the biggest supporters of the channel and the sponsor of today's video, War Thunder.
Well,
this game, you're not ready.
I want you to know I could kill Indominus Rex because I'm broke
Before you
stupid.
try to skip, just sit there and hear one vehicle endings. Root game.
Just sit right now.
Active update features of full units at war.
Oh, if you're wondering why I keep killing Indominus Rex, it's because I'm broke stupid.
And more to give you a huge advantage as soon as you start playing. Oh, and don't forget that you can try
I'm sorry. I'll go skip his ass.
Sorry, Goji Woji.
Wait, actually, keep on.
below to download this in iOS and Android. Thanks.
iOS and Android.
Okay, I want to say I am really grateful to be back with
Still
Goji
War Thunder
Center.
for sponsoring this video.
Why I stopped reacting to Goji Center was I wanted to be like my heroes. I wanted to do powerlifting and I wanted to do videos, but I failed. I tried over and over again and I failed. And as that song said, I made peace with my demons. I just hope you can do the same. No, I made peace with that. I could never be like my heroes. Because I can't read. And truthfully, I could try to learn, but it's really hard if you're over 18 and you don't know how to read. It's really hard for some people to learn how to read, like me, with my severe autism. And I've accepted that I may never read, I may never live like everyone else. And I've accepted that part of my life. And I'm still happy that I can live a normal-ish life on YouTube.
And as we were saying before, Jurassic's buck allegedly yielded the same impact force of a Moab. The real force here would likely be 18,000 joules, about 4.3 e to the power of -6 power tons of TNT. Roughly the same impact force of a car crashing into this bus at 20 to 30 miles per hour, when accounting for multiple crumple zones like we see on this bus. That much force hitting mostly hollow aluminum tends to match up pretty close to real-life vehicle crashes. No Moab headbutts required. With all that out of the way, let's get back to looking at what the human cast threw at this horrendous hybrid in a bid to kill it, and see if they brought the right equipment. After all, Vic Hoskins was supposed to be a professional in charge of security.
I'm delayed, but I'm really glad Goji Center doesn't use AI. I believe they don't use AI, and I'm really glad for that.
And was one of the primary forces behind the Indominus. Surely this genius of a man would have brought only the best equipment, and known exactly what to use for bringing down an animal of this size. No, he didn't. At least, not entirely. For you to fully appreciate the rest of this video, we'd like you to take a seat and take a quick crash course on firearm damage. It will only take a moment. What a gun looks like and what it's called are not good indicators of how powerful they are. What really matters is the kind of bullets it shoots, and those haven't changed much since the 1920s.
I like her shirt. That's a cool Joker shirt.
With only a few new types becoming common. The way bullets work doesn't change just because the gun looks fancy. Things like stocks and attachments don't magically boost power or speed like in video games. They mostly just help with handling or comfort. Outside of special ammo, the primary determining factor for how much damage a bullet does is the foot-pounds. This is essentially how much energy that bullet has to tear into things, and it's determined by how heavy the bullet was and how fast it was going. Weight is pretty self-explanatory. Bigger bullets, bigger impact. Speed, however, really depends on how much of an explosive charge was behind the bullet and how long long the barrel of the gun was. More explosives equals more force pushing the bullet. Longer barrel, more length for that explosive to be focused and propel said bullet. This is
Okay.
longer barrel, more length for that explosive to be focused and propel said bullet. This is why most rifles with longer cartridges for more explosives and longer barrels almost always hit much harder than pistols. As for the firearms themselves in the movie, looking them over actually gives a pretty good idea of why taking down the Indominus mostly came down to one very angry T-Rex and one oversized Mosa. Shout out to the Internet Movie Firearms Database if you want to identify what people are locked and loaded with on screen. And what the InGen Goon Squad was packing was less than impressive. Right off the bat, pretty much any of the submachine guns or assault rifles aren't cutting it. Several InGen security members were seen running around with various submachine guns and M16 variants that only have about 500 to 1700 foot-pounds of energy. These can be plenty lethal to humans, but unless you have Indominus stand there and get unloaded on for minutes on end, they're not dropping a multi-ton animal. These kinds of bullets get lodged in the skin or underlying tissue without really hitting anything vital. The heftier M14 enhanced rifle and DRD tactical apparatus could do some more damage firing 7.62 rifle ammo. These rounds have about 2,600 foot-pounds of energy. The problem, however, is these are not optimal for big game. Poachers going after endangered elephants and rhinos with this ammo usually have to resort to traps and dozens of poison bullets with repeated ambushes. The animals usually are scared into running away and suffer for hours at a time before meeting their end. The 7.62 did evolve from the more powerful 30-06 rounds used in Browning machine guns back in the World War eras. These rounds have about 3,000 foot-pounds behind them. But the difference is when the biplanes firing bullets eventually took down things from early armored vehicles to King Kong, these were using multiple machine guns with way
King Kong reference.
more ammo than a few guys on foot would have. What vehicle-mounted guns security had were shortly underutilized. These would have been more stable to fire from and land more shots. Owen and Barry actually had some of the better picks with hunting guns, even if it's clear they probably had to just make do with what they had on hand instead of getting what was optimal. Barry's Remington.
I mean, you have to remember, it's like Batman Arkham. They didn't have time to go to an island and get all guns. They had to save people now. They couldn't wait a week. They couldn't wait a week and get everything they needed. They had to do it now. Like, you know, what I liked about Batman was, I mentioned how Batman realistically, the crazy people probably couldn't get off the island because all boats were taken. There was only one boat taken, and it was taken by Jim Gordon, and I really don't believe Joker would have used it. So Batman could have just waited a week, took all the gear he needed, like smoke bombs and everything from Arkham Knight and the third game, come back in Wayne Tower, but he didn't. He knew he needed to be underprepared because he couldn't let people die, and that's like this. I respect that they didn't wait, they just went now even though they weren't strong enough. I think that's really respectable in my opinion.
An 870 shotgun and Model 900 revolver could do something at close range, but even they aren't built for something weighing multiple tons. Owen's rifle is also the source of some confusion. In the Junior novelization, it says his gun can take down a T-Rex, but they never clarify what kind of gun it is, nor does the novel ever even feature him firing it in the finale. In either case, this would just not be canonical with the film because it contradicts what we see. In the movie, our hero is prominently running around with a Marlin Model 1895 hunting rifle. The manufacturers for the rifle, not to let free advertisement go to waste, even jokingly changed the recommended type of game for this hunting rifle to include T-Rex on the list.
Oh, that's so cool.
Is joke. Firing 45-70 rounds, just about the biggest ammo he could probably get a hold of living in a theme park, these rounds could reliably drop boars and elk. But this is still not the recommended kind of stopping.
I mean, maybe you could shoot a T-Rex directly in the eye and maybe it could hit the brain.
Unless we want to say T-Rex class above it, meant for killing just 1-ton bison. Unless we want to say T-Rex in the JP universe can be brought down with a gun a fraction of the force recommended for a big cow, this isn't lining up. Oh, and making do with the best he had at the time also explains why in the main straight fight he was managing to draw blood shooting at the Indominus while fighting alongside the Raptors, but he failed to critically wound it. Outside of a direct hit to the brain...
Yeah, like, I saw this guy saying, dude, why are you firing dinosaurs, firing the guns at dinosaurs? And I hate people who think this. Because dinosaurs aren't gods. Dinosaurs are living creatures. You shoot a gun at a dinosaur, it's fucking dead. You know, like, I'm not saying all guns are strong. All guns aren't built equally. But let's say I get a paleontology raptor, and I have a handgun and shoot it right in his fucking head. Its head's blown up. You know, it's fucking dead. It ain't coming back. Ain't no GP2 free or any of that. It's fucking dead. You know? It's not gods. It's not like monsters. It's not like gods that it can fucking die.
He really couldn't hope for much more. Really, only a few weapons in the movie would have been reliable against something like the Indominus. Dishonorable mention to the idiot on InGen Security with an underslung grenade launcher that for some reason they decided not to use. The GE M134 minigun uses the 762 bullets we talked about earlier, but the 2,000 to 6,000 rounds per minute fire rate from this gun created by refrigerator manufacturers is so absurdly high and with such a huge ammo capacity that it wouldn't have really mattered. Had that been used in any other scenario where it wasn't on an unstable helicopter piloted by a brave but novice rookie pilot, and apparently being aimed by a stormtrooper missing almost every shot, that...
Yeah, I mean... Literally, they should have won. Everything should have made them win. Like, don't get me wrong, I actually think this scene is cool, because that shows the Indominus Rex as well. She should have died. She literally had plot armor on her side to make her win. But I would love to see an only universe where she won. You know, in the only universe, what if they won and they killed her?
This would have definitely killed the Indom. And speaking of missing your shot... Contrary to a lot of misidentifications on the internet, this is not an RPG. This is an AT-4 smoothbore recoilless rifle. Manufactured to blow holes in walls and attack armored vehicles, the AT-4 can have some devastating power in a direct hit. Most versions fire projectiles that are meant to achieve what is called a beyond armor effect. This means the explosive force is delayed until after the projectile blasts into a target to blow up inside it. Had this actually hit, the cast would have been showered in hybrid guts. 200% dead Indom, no ifs, ands, or buts. Unfortunately,
They shot her in the butt. I'm sorry, yeah.
Fortunately, there were more stormtroopers on staff that day. It's also worth noting that because of how AT-4 projectiles work, the actual explosive force isn't nearly as deadly as some might think. Test firings at walls and shipping containers show that the major force is very directional. The fireball and shockwaves knocked the hybrid off her feet, but wouldn't have damaged her internals. Viewers can also tell the damage wasn't too extreme considering the surrounding foliage is largely just on fire and not blasted apart. A vast majority of the explosion was
So, I saw this question, and I want to ask your guys' opinion on it. Would you guys want to see a Star Wars saga, but with Jurassic World, being Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World saga? I would say yes, because even though I loved that game, it felt really underutilized. It always had those dumb run levels, which they did, because they wanted it to be like a Scooby-Doo game where you ran, but it wasn't that fun. Also, the characters didn't feel that fun. Like, you had Joe Hammond, but you never played him in the story. Now, that's very accurate to the movie, where he was quite useless, but I just wish they were more playable, you know? Also, we never got, you know, Jurassic Fallen Kingdom and Jurassic World Dominion. Now, so I would like those two to also be added.
Directed into the ground after detonating there. What's worse is the AT-4 is a single-shot rifle. In most circumstances, you wouldn't be able to reload it and try and get that second shot. You would need another loaded rifle laying around. The security at Jurassic World was not prepared for something like the Indominus. They were running around with guns that often have a hard time dropping elephants, let alone...
I do feel bad for the poor bastards, because you could tell they weren't prepared. They were terrified. I mean, just look at those poor bastards right here, right now.
Dinosaurs. Those machine guns they had could have gotten the job done with enough prolonged fire.
Just saying, I feel bad for the poor bastards.
Let's see what you guys got.
Well, I'm glad I'm reacting to Ghost again.
But would have had a hard time shooting moving through jungle.
But I saw this video, the Unplanned Monster First Trilogy. Now, I don't really react to interviews, but Jim said it would be quite cool, so maybe I might, maybe I won't, I don't know.
And the one explosive they had that could have gotten it done in one shot needs a...
Delta's death was meant to be sad, but I didn't feel it personally. Don't get me wrong.
Shooting moving through jungle cover. And the one explosive they had that could have gotten it done in one shot needs a...
Don't get me wrong. It was sad to see them all die. That's why I prefer a Lego game timeline, because in their own universe, they all decide to work with Owen and don't die. They all live, which I thought was really cool, because it makes you wonder what if they didn't die in their own universe.
So, what kinds of weapons would have been more effective, especially for forces largely relying on people on foot instead of in a vehicle? Well, the second movie in the franchise answered that. The field leader of the 1997 venture might have stepped onto what at the time...
Great character, by the way.
...was the most dangerous island in the world, with bullets designed 100 years prior, but the 600 Nitro Express rounds are practically the textbook definition of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Circe double-barrel elephant gun Roland took to Isla Sorna fired bullets twice as heavy as Owen's rifle, with much more propellant. These rounds can strike with over 8,000 foot-pounds of energy. The upgraded 700 Nitro Express launched an even heavier round that can strike with over 9,000 foot-pounds. And even
It's over 9,000!
These ludicrously powerful bullets still don't always kill elephants in a single shot. Usually the marksman has to go specifically for a brain, lung, or heart shot to drop the animal quickly, so both it doesn't suffer and for safety. So,
look, if you use a nice clean shot, we don't even feel it.
Optimally, a fire team of professional marksmen would want to take aim at the hybrid altogether. Some alternatives that might be much more readily available would include the 50 BMG anti-vehicle rounds meant for Browning heavy machine guns. A mainstay of anti-vehicle rifles and heavy machine guns since the 1920s, these bullets are smaller than the Nitro Express, but have a faster velocity, striking with upwards of 13,000 foot-pounds. The Indominus Rex may not be invincible, but this really does show just how resilient some large animals can be. There is a big difference between just wounding something and reliably killing it. It would have taken concentrated machine gun fire meant to chew up vehicles, or some of the most powerful big game rifles ever created to take it down reliably. Our heroes were stuck making on hand, and InGen badly underestimated what they were up against. And the guy calling the shots...
Hats off to Kale, buddy.
Oh, that ending was weird. I do like how it ends with if half of the Indominus Rex's skull and the other half of her face. So, I gotta be truthful. Like, unironically, if I could bring one weapon to kill the Indominus Rex, this would be my one. No jokes, none. I'd make a flamethrower, like one of those giant flamethrowers. She seemed really terrified of fire, and all dinosaurs are afraid of fire. Just look at the Dominion scene. So you just bring a flamethrower, like, you know, I get a big bulky thing. No dinosaur's gonna want to eat me because I'll blow up, and I'm gonna say I have two. And then I just scare all those motherfuckers, and the Indominus Rex or any of them won't want to fuck with me because they'll be dead. I'll burn them alive. Okay, see y'all in the next part.